The following report contains some disturbing images.
The only reason we have killed this man today is because Muslims are dying daily by British soldiers. And this British soldier is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
He had just butchered a British soldier by trying to behead him in broad daylight on a London street. Michael Adebolajo on the left and his fellow killer Michael Adebowale have now been convicted of murder. Their victim, Lee Rigby, in a Help for Heroes top, was on his way back to his barracks when he was killed. The men targeted him because he was carrying a military rucksack. As he crossed the road close to the barracks in Woolwich, they drove their car at him. The jury saw footage of him being thrown into the air. Adebolajo then tried to decapitate Fusilier Rigby, striking his neck repeatedly with a meat cleaver, while Adebowale used a knife to cut at his body. And all this being watched by members of the public. The men dragged the soldier's body into the middle of the road. Ingrid Kennett was among those who tried to help Lee Rigby.
I heard a voice saying, "Don't touch the body," and that's when I lifted my head and I saw straight at eye level two hands, one carrying the two bloodied hands, one carrying the meat cleavers and the butcher's knife, and the other one having a revolver.
One of the suspects pulled the handgun out. He pulled it from behind the back of his trousers. As I was on the phone to the police just down there outside my garage, a bunch of school kids just come up that alleyway there, and I shouted at them, "Get the kids in the school, because there's a bloke up there with an handgun."
With his hands soaked in the soldier's blood, Michael Adebolajo began delivering his message.
You people will never be safe. Remove your governments, they don't care about you.
He and Adebowale then waited for firearms officers to arrive. The plan was to martyr themselves by dying in a hail of bullets.
First Michael, he was walking up and down with the meat cleavers, and as soon as they heard the police car come around the corner, they didn't even get a chance to get out of the car. He just ran at them with the meat cleavers and they had to shoot him. They had no choice.
You can see Adebolajo go down as a police marksman opened fire. Officers then surrounded Adebowale. In one hand his revolver raised at them, in the other a knife. He too was shot. After ensuring the attackers were no longer a threat, the police began giving them both first aid. In police interviews, Adebolajo described how the men had selected their victim.
Between us, we decided that the soldier is the most fair target because he joins the army with kind of an understanding that your life is at risk when you join the army, you know.
Since the 7/7 attacks, most of the Islamist plots in the UK have involved a number of people and the use of explosives. What happened here was far less sophisticated, minimal planning so the authorities weren't alerted, and easy to carry out. Lee Rigby, 25 when he was killed, had joined the army as a teenager. This was him during a tour of Afghanistan. He returned from there safely to his family, only to lose his life in his home country.
He was a real character in the 2nd Fusiliers and is missed greatly. He was a true warrior, having served with distinction in Afghanistan. That his life was ended in this way was a cruel tragedy.
He's left a young son, Jack. One day he will learn how his father was murdered because he was a British soldier.